Alright guys, welcome back to another video for this Saturday episode. Just bringing you up to date with some interesting headlines that have happened over Friday. It's been a pretty big week in gaming. Lots of news that did come out, especially with TGS and Xbox and getting a lot of games onto Game Pass, as well as a nice announcement like the Final Fantasy Pixel Remaster, which just looks like it is a phenomenal release all in one package. So we'll talk about some headlines here from a brand new game that could be in development here, a spinoff from Starcraft, PlayStation pricing with Horizon, as well as the PS5 Pro and Scalping, and the NVIDIA RTX, the 5000 series cards apparently have been leaked, and they are just beasts of cards. But before we continue, if you do enjoy daily gaming news and content, make sure to hit that subscribe, share the video around, like the video if you enjoy, dislike it if you don't, and check out my Spotify for the audio version of the shows that come out Monday to Friday. But we'll start off here with Starcraft, Blizzard Entertainment, and just potentially another game in the works. Right now at Xbox, they have so many IPs, so many studios, so many games that are going to be rolling out. Game Pass is going to be insane if they all drop day one, which they should be. So it's going to be crazy, and there's going to be new stuff that does come out and spin-offs. I really hope we get more spin-offs from all the IPs that they have, even from like something like Halo. We could get a smaller spin-off Halo game. That would be awesome. But we have this report here, and this has to do with Blizzard Entertainment, and it looks like they are turning Starcraft again. I mean, they're going to be trying again to do this into a shooter. This is Jason Schreier revealing, speaking with IGN, that this could be in the works. So it says here, as covered in his book, Schreier explained that after the cancellation of Blizzard's survival game from following Microsoft's acquisition of Activision Blizzard King, most of that team was laid off. A handful remained and are incubating a StarCraft shooter under the leadership of Dan Hay, a veteran developer who previously worked on Ubisoft's Far Cry franchise. And if you are a Far Cry fan, or if you've played those games, they are great shooters. They have great mechanics, and they're just a ton of fun to play. So that's already promising as to what could happen here from Starcraft. And I think with this series and with this IP, you could absolutely make a good first-person shooter. I don't know if you remember the StarCraft Ghost game, which was canceled, which was a third-person action-adventure shooter game. So they already thought about spin-offs before in this universe, and it just hasn't come to fruition. And if you look at gameplay of that game, it actually looked pretty cool. So I was sad when that did get canceled, but I could definitely see them taking this and turning it in to a first-person shooter with just an awesome single-player campaign, and hopefully some multiplayer thrown in there as well. Continues here and says, Schreier notes in the conversation with IGN that it's very early days on the project, and Blizzard has already canceled 2 attempted StarCraft shooters in the past with StarCraft Ghost, I mean, as I just mentioned, and then there is the lesser known Project Ares. Not sure what that one was about, but another shooter that they had canceled. So very cool stuff there, and this is exciting to see when we will end up seeing this game, or when it will be shown off. And we also did get the announcements for the StarCraft Remaster and StarCraft 2 into Xbox Game Pass, which is a smart move. I would love for them at some point to adapt those games to the console, similar to what we're seeing Xbox do with their other big PC games like Age of Mythology, Age of Empires. Bring those over to console, have some good controls for them. We've seen them do it with Halo Wars. Personally, I was a big fan of the first 2 Halo Wars games, and I would love them to also bring out another Halo Wars, but I'm not sure they will based off of the sales of, I think Halo Wars 2 did not do very well. So lots of spin-offs coming, lots of first-party games, and just tons of stuff to look forward to going forward. Now, when it comes to the PlayStation 5 Pro, we know that this thing, I mean, it is going to be the most powerful console on the market. It's going to be the place if you want the highest end console for you to go pick up. But we also know the price is absurd. I don't think the price is worth it, especially that you're going to be able to save a bit more money and wait a couple more years, save that money. If you really want the highest powered thing, just build a PC at that point, because this is not going to last into the next generation. Obviously, they're going to come out with PS6, which is going to be even better. But $700 USD, and I was doing the calculations before you buy the stand for the PlayStation 5 Pro in Canada is $1,084. That did go on sale last week, and it did not sell out, surprisingly. I mean, I thought, and I had said this on my show before, that the PS5 Pro was going to sell out right away, the base version, when it went on sale, and people were putting in their pre-orders, because you have all the enthusiasts that are out there that don't care how much anything costs, and then they are going to go out and purchase that. That's always how that works, but it doesn't really measure the success of the sales. You have to wait until later on, years later or a year later or so, whatever, they have just plentiful stock, and how fast do those sell out. And I thought that's when it would start to die off, because you think about something like the Nintendo Wii U. The Nintendo Wii U, I believe, sold out at launch, and we know how that console ended up. I think only selling like 13 million units, and just an abysmal failure for Nintendo. But the PS5 Pro didn't even sell out at launch. It was still available. It may even be still available right now, at least in Canada. You can still go on to Best Buy and pre-order them. That's where we had to get them here. And I believe on the PlayStation Direct site, even in the United States, it was still available for a very long time. And last time I looked, it was still up there as well. So either they created just an insane amount of stock, or it is not selling as much as they have expected. And that price tag is probably having a major effect on it. Now, the one thing that did sell out right away, of course, was the PlayStation 5 Pro 30th anniversary. And I think this was a very smart move by PlayStation to release this. They did this as well with the PS4. They put out an anniversary for the 20th anniversary, and that sold out like crazy. But with the PS5 Pro one, it's creating a lot of hype around the Pro console, and it's probably going to push a lot of people who wanted to get this 30th anniversary limited edition to just the base console, realizing that they can't get it. But because it's sold out so fast, and a lot of it is probably scalpers with their bots who have picked it up, which is unfortunate, because this would have sold out regardless of if there was bots and scalpers or not. We are seeing some insane prices. Somebody had listed the PlayStation 5 Pro 30th anniversary edition for about $35,000 on eBay. And no one's, I think, going to pay that price. I'm seeing some sales go for like $2,000, $3,000, $4,000. I think the highest I've seen one sell for is about $6,500. That's in USD. So we may see some more crazy prices like that, but eBay is going to do absolutely nothing about this. So if you're caring about ever picking up one of these, you're going to probably have to pay one of those crazy scalper prices. It says, as expected, the PlayStation 5 Pro 30th anniversary limited edition bundles sold out in seconds, and already scalpers have uploaded their listings with enormous markups in price. And eBay has commented on this, and they say here that they are allowed to be sold. There's nothing that they are going to do to stop these from being sold, specifically saying pre-sale listings are allowed on eBay if they comply with our pre-sale policy. Listings that do not comply may be removed, and sellers may face sanctions on their account. eBay's price gouging policy only applies to essential items and does not include items such as video game consoles. So obviously eBay is not going to do anything about it, but this is the reality here. People are spending multiple thousands of dollars just to have that confirmation that they'll get the console. It's not even in hand yet. This is just obviously the pre-orders. And I don't know what could go wrong if you're just purchasing a pre-order. What would happen after that? And would they ever not get the console itself? I know eBay has a pretty good policy to get your money back if you do get scammed. So who knows what's going to happen here at the end of the day, but this is just insanely the creation of an artificial demand because they've released such little amount of these units. They could have created like 100,000 units and it still would have been pretty rare and hard to get, but at least more people who would have wanted the console could have gotten their hands on it. But again, the prices are insane, and a lot of people are going to purchase these and just keep them in the box, not even use them, and then hopefully sell them for a lot more down the road. It is pretty much just a collector's item. Now, as you know, at the State of Play, PlayStation announced Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered, and it's $10 if you own the game right now for the upgrade. But if you don't own the game, it is $40 to pick up, which it's up to you, I guess, if you want to go pick it up. But you could also just go and pick up a used copy for like $10, $15, then pay the $10 upgrade if you want that next gen upgrade on it. And it's going to be far cheaper than the actual price. But one of the things Sony has done here, which is I think a big issue going forward with the entire digital era and being locked down to your consoles store, like for PlayStation, which is another advantage of PC, of course, when you have like GOG and stuff and all of these other marketplaces where you can get games, is that PlayStation controls the price and they can price gouge you, and there's really nothing you can do about it because if you're only buying things off of PSN, you are locked to what they choose. And they did something pretty scummy here. And it shows here that The reason for the price, so they increased the price of Horizon Zero Dawn, but it says the reason for the price increase is almost certainly to ensure that players don't get Horizon Zero Dawn Remastered for a cheaper than full price by buying the PS4 version on sale and upgrading it. So they increased the price here to $39.99, but the PS4 version, previous to that, the complete edition was listed for $19.99, $20. So they increased it $20 just to force people to have to spend that more money so that they wouldn't get it cheaper and then be able to save on the overall cost if they did want to get that upgrade, which obviously people would do. They see the remaster, and I know we like to joke and make fun of PlayStation's release of the remasters over and over and over again. I do think it's absurd, but it works because people buy them, and it's a good return on investment because the development cost for that is far less than having to develop a game brand new. So that's why they do it. It is a quick cash grab for them, and they're taking even more advantage of it by increasing the price on PSN. So I would say if you have the disc drive, just ignore the PSN price. Go out and buy a physical copy of it. Even if you hate physical, you're getting price gouged here for no reason, just because they announced this remaster is absolutely absurd. And again, another thing here that points to the future all digital. It's going to be sad when we are locked into those systems, we are locked into those stores, and there's no other alternative out there. That's why I think keeping physical alive and game preservation is just extremely important. And finally, I mean, we've been talking about the PS5 Pro, and people are comparing it to like the 4070 and stuff, and I don't think it is that, but we'll see more comparisons when it does come out. But all of this, it brings us back to the whole saving your money, wait for the next generation. And then if you really want the highest power thing in the world, just build a PC, because there's going to be new cards out there. There's going to be new NVIDIA cards that will just absolutely destroy the PS5 Pro. And it looks like we have a leak here for the RTX 5080 and the RTX 5090 with massive, massive power requirements. This is obviously one of the drawbacks of having such powerful cards, is just the huge power that you need to be able to get these cards running. But here is the leak. This comes via Copite7 Kimmy on X, which I don't know if I said that right, but that's who it comes. A reliable track record of leaking NVIDIA and AMD hardware. It says, according to the leak, the RTX 5080 will sport a 16 gigabytes of RAM, while the 5090 weighs in with 32 gigabytes of RAM and a colossal 600 watts power draw. And that's really what we know. I mean, here are the rumors. You have the memory bandwidth, 784 gigabytes per second for the 5080, 1568 gigabytes per second. The 5080 is going to have 256-bit memory bus. The 5090 will have a 512-bit memory bus. There's going to be 10,752 CUDA cores on the 5080, 21,760 CUDA cores on the 5090. Memory speed on 5080 will be 28 gigabits per second, and on the 5090, 28 gigabits per second as well. And then the GPU on the 5080 will be a Blackwell GB203-400, and then on the 5090, Blackwell GB202-300. So that is the leaks right now, but just obviously from the power wattage here. I mean, the 600 watts for the 5090 and then 400 watts for the 5080 is going to be massive, and it is going to obviously blow away anything on the consoles right now. But the question here is, when the next gen consoles come out, how will they stack up to the PCs on the market? Where will they put it? Because if you remember when the Series X and the PS5 came out, they were comparing it to like 2070, 2080, and I don't know if it ever really reached that, but that's what people were comparing to it when they were launching, and they had talked about their specs. But we'll see what happens here with the next gen and what those consoles will be compared to. I also think the biggest thing for next gen is going to be the things like PSSR that are going to be built into the consoles, and Microsoft and Xbox will have their own, I believe, and then that's going to have a huge thing. AI upscaling is going to play a major role going forward into the next gen, being able to get crispy image quality and be able to keep that 60 frames per second. All that stuff is going to be very important. But I will end the video there. If you did enjoy this video, hit that thumbs up. If you're new here, hit that subscribe, and I'll catch you guys in the next video.
Bye.